want to say happy Friday, but then I got to thinking, I was like, well, Friday is just another day. It's another sunrise, it's another sunset. I was looking back and doing some contemplation on when I went from a Monday through Friday lifestyle to just an everyday, one day at a time. Doing some morning stretches. Oh, a little bit later than I normally wake up. Oh. If you're new to the channel, I want to say thank you for subscribing. There's currently 310 of you that have subscribed to this new channel. And like I said in the description, I want to say thank you because what I share here on this channel is what's happening, in my life and what my life was like, what I'm doing now, and the response, the interaction has been very nice. I want to say thank you, and I want to let you know that we're going to be launching an awesome thing for the community. In the last couple of days, I've had the opportunity to meet with two amazing souls who are both healers. They have amazing stories, and I'm going to be launching a podcast that's going to share stories like this and share what they're doing to help others. They're going to become resources in the Freedom Seekers community, and I have a few more of these lined up. The goal is to completely launch the podcast at the beginning of the year, and so it's going to be my gift to you guys as a community to be able to bring more people who have had amazing transformations that are also now helping others. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, please subscribe. I'm gonna do some What do you see, Benny? You see yourself? You're famous. You guys gotta love Mr. Bean, right? What are you doing, Mr. Bean? Bean did his zoom up. So, the first few episodes of the podcast are beautiful people who are volunteering their time to the community. So, to Melissa Frederick, to Gabriella, to Steve, and others who are going to be participating, you guys are amazing. Once I do a full launch of the community, I'm going to position these healers as resources in our community. What that means is if you guys, when you join the community and you become a member of the patron, there's going to be different levels of membership. And the different levels of membership will give you access to these different healers. I'm going to continue to roll out and invite more experts and eventually be able to build up a budget to bring on guests like Joe Dispenza. That's the towards the end of the year, I would like to start having larger guests that are more well known. Um, Yesterday, I did a reading on TikTok of this this man's work, Joe Dispenza. You guys, we were born with everything that we needed at that very moment to fulfill our purpose, our mind and body, brain, body. you guys could participate in the poll. Somebody answered survival. If you could comment below and talk about that. Dream, dream. We were talking about that yesterday, how our thoughts can make us sick, but our thoughts can also make us well. So I'm running this poll because that's what we're going to talk about here in a moment. So if you guys are here and you want to do a vote, if you're in creation or survival, are you in that fight or flight, or are you in creation and creative mode? Can you see, Bane? What do you see, Mr. Bean? You want to say hi? Hi, Mr. Bean. So there was two votes, and you guys said you're in survival mode. So I get it. It's a hard place to be. Mr. Bean is like, Dad, are we live? Are we live? We are live, Mr. Bean. You're the most famous kitty on YouTube. So every day is not it's not all butterflies and rainbows, right? We get to be real. If you're not doing okay, you can say, "Hey, I don't feel that good today. I woke up in fear. I woke up in anxiety." Or, I woke up grateful, thankful for another day. Mr. Bean, how do you feel? I think Mr. Bean likes being on camera. So, when I was homeless between 2015 and 2016, and then again in 2018 to 2019, I knew that since I was in survival or fight or flight mode, it was impossible for me at that time to do anything except for drink. Because when I drank, I was able to feel a little bit more comfortable with my situation, but I also was using other chemicals to be able to keep me up. Because when I was homeless, I didn't want to just sit there. I was I was scared of other people, so I was always running. I was always walking. I didn't want to stay in one place because I didn't trust people on the streets. I'm just grateful that I was able to get out like I was before it got too bad because I would be either dead or in jail. That's a fact. So here's what happened in 2019 when I was on the street for a few months already, homeless, sleeping in bus stops, sleeping in doorways, sleeping in friends' garages, going to trap house because I was always welcome at a trap house, right? If you got a few bucks and you're ready to get high, they're always going to let you into the trap. So my friend Danielle, who is one of my best friends to this day, she's a beautiful soul. Somebody knocked on her door from this place. There was a an organization that knocked on her door. It was called the U.S. Mission. The U.S. Mission at that time was it's called a work housing program. So they had one house where they brought men in that were veterans, and if they had room, they would bring in men who were looking to better their lives and get off the street. So in order to get room and board at this place, every day from 1 p.m. till about 8, we were required to go door to door and get donations for the organization, which, I had already done door to door sales and marketing and stuff. So I was like, okay, I can do this, right? So she was given a she was given a flyer, and the flyer was just information about the organization. It took her a few weeks to get me the information. And then once she handed me that flyer, it still took me even a couple of weeks before I was even able to look at it. It took what it took, but finally one morning, after sleeping in my friend Mick Hall, his garage, I pulled that flyer out and I gave him a call. I had nowhere to go that morning. I was about to go get loaded again and keep chasing the dragon. And I did actually. So I called them and they said I have to call back in the morning. And I was like, oh, fuck, you know? So I kept drinking. I kept smoking. I kept running. I was still in survival mode. I didn't know. Well, I didn't know what was next. All I knew was that if I drank, I wouldn't feel. So that's what I did. I continued on that path for a while. And then finally one morning, it was enough. And what happened was I was leaving this trap house after being up all night, getting high and drinking. And I was like, man, I had everything that I owned in a couple of bags, some clothes, a laptop, maybe like 12 bucks and change, right? And this was in 2019. I called that number again and they were like, yeah, you got to call back in the morning, but you can come in. And so that day, I decided to walk into another meeting. So I'd been to AA before, but that morning I had nowhere to go. I had my backpack, which was everything that I owned at that time. I went into a meeting over at Group One in Midtown Sacramento. My hope was to just kill some time. Now, I wasn't sure about even going to this meeting because I was considering going um, to another place where I can get high and continue to drink. But I walked into this meeting and I sat down and I saw some men that I had met before, people that I'm still in contact with to this day. After the meeting, I talked to one of them and I told him my situation. He offered to take me over to another meeting on the other side of town, which was closer to the US mission. The plan was to go to this meeting, which was at like 10 o'clock at night, and then kill some time until the morning and go over to the US mission because they had a bed for me to be able to get off the street. So I got over to this meeting. It was a 10 o'clock meeting at a place called Sharing and Caring. I was able to share my story with a couple of the members of the meeting, and they gathered the whole group up after the meeting, and we went over to Denny's at about 11:30 at night on like a Wednesday night. We sat there at this Denny's restaurant until 4:35 a.m. with a couple of other men that I just barely even knew. All they knew was that I needed help and I had a plan to get into a sober living the next morning. So it was 4:35 in the morning and we're just kind of just talking and my anxiety is through the roof. I'm paranoid. I'm looking over my shoulder because I'm in survival mode and I'm fighting in my head. I'm like, well, I could go to this place or I could just go get a bottle, right? Because I knew that the bottle would help, at least with my anxiety. This man, Ian stayed with me that morning and he actually took me to the hospital. He took me to the hospital and I went into the hospital and was given treatment for my situation. They gave me some stuff to help me calm down. And by this time, it was 8 in the morning, and it was time to be able to go over to the U.S. mission. So that's what I did. The hospital gave me a cab ride over to this place, and this was the beginning of the turning point of my homelessness and my recovery this time. And I say that because this is not the first time that I had entered into recovery. So I got over to the US mission, and right away they let me in. They showed me where I was going to be sleeping. It was in a room with four other men. So there was five of us in one bedroom in bunk beds. But it was better than being on the street. It was better than walking around endlessly. It was better than sleeping in bus stops. It was better than sleeping in trap houses. It was better than being up all night and drinking and smoking. So when I say smoking, I'm talking about hardcore drugs. So this program was a work program. So that day, I was required to go out door to door and collect donations for this place in order to get my room and board. This was in 2019. And for this day and for this experience, I'm going to be forever grateful. If you're watching this live, thank you. If you're watching this on replay, thank you.